and welcome to another edition of XFeed. Today, we're doing something a little special. We're having Matt Bartlett back on. We are going over the Catch game that is available on SegMint tomorrow, I do believe. So we'll get feedback from you guys. We'll showcase kind of what the experience is like. If you want to have any back and forth with this, again, this is going to be a phenomenal show to go over that. And then we are going to go over all of the headlines of the day. And we just listened to a quick song from the one and only Choose Rich Nick. Yo, Gary Does, what's going on? How are you doing today? And it's just one of the funniest songs that I think in terms of like content creation and entertainment. We've gone over the thoughts, the theses of like, damn, we just need entertainment within the space. I think he's been doing a great job of it. We're going to get takes from Matt on that as well. But Doodles having actually a pretty major announcement, or maybe it's not like necessarily an announcement, but letting us know that they worked on the Sabrina Carpenter Fortnite promo video. So if you haven't seen what that is, it's crazy, and they purchased Golden Wolf Studio. We'll go through all of that and a couple more headlines. We're going to go over the Coinbase. I don't even know what we call it. Do we call it a hack? Do we call it a ransom? We have a video from Brian Armstrong that's kind of explaining the situation. It's one of the craziest things we've seen in crypto. And every single day you wake up and you think, nah, there's absolutely no way that this could get more exciting than the day previous. And somehow it blows you straight out of the water every single time. So going over to the SegMint website, you'll see that on the top here, it says the catch. And so you'll go over there and this is kind of what the experience will look like. Now, I'm going to bring up Matty B here, and we'll throw him up on screen. So, Mr. Matt, good morning, good morning. How are we doing over in your part of the world?
I'm good. I'm anxious to see your take on the game.
Okay, cool, perfect. So, Gary Doge and anybody else that's watching here live, feel free to let us know. And I have this window like super zoomed in, what I'm realizing. So, I'm going to need to go there, and then maybe we'll F11 it. Yeah. We'll F11 it. Just while we're going through the first things. So, Matt, talk us through a little bit where the recent catches here on the bottom of the screen. There's a whole bunch of items. So what exactly are these items before we get to fishing?
Okay, so you've got potential prizes you could win, graded and tokenized Vibes TCG cards. You might see some Vibes redemption codes, or what they call the fish sickles. And then we're also debuting our adventure item collection here. And so some of you may know, if you're in our community, we had a free mint for a segment adventure. Well, now you're going to be able to win equipment, tools, spells, weapons, armor that you'll eventually be able to equip to your character or to your NFT. And then we will introduce some burn mechanisms, which I'll explain more on tomorrow's spaces for those that join. But those are some of the prizes that you'll see. And really, this whole bar at the bottom is meant to maybe, give you some FOMO. In fact, if you can, go to SegMint just through the homepage and scroll down, you'll see more of, I don't know what you call it, a little mock-up of the game that shows sort of a different selection of potential prizes.
Okay, yo, hell yeah, that's awesome. All right, and so yeah, so you can see within here, there's actually the Vanek promo card that was something that was highly sought after. I know that when you went to, I don't know if it was right at NFT Paris or after, but I thought there was a whole bunch of people that were bugging you to try to get that card, and it's really, really cool, the success that Vibes has had as well. So again, if you guys are wanting to check that out, it's segment.io. But going back over to the catch here, we got a nice little tunage going on in the background from the one and only Viv, but we got over on the side, we have the common bait, and we just talked over some of the prizes, but if you check and click where the mystery box is, it'll go through all of the different ones. So there's the Vanek Gold Digger hat, which is coming soon, the graded Vanek card that we just talked about, a couple of other ones, and it does look like comics are coming soon as well, and a couple of the other stuff that Matt highlighted. So we're going to hit play for the common bait here, which is the French baguette, I think. And we got 3 spots, so we're going to give it a go and throw it. Yo, Boomer, what's up? Nice work, SegMint. Branding and art looks great. Hell yeah. And so this is the first catch, Matt. We got the SegMint Adventure Item Lightning Spell. So can you kind of explain a little bit of what that is for? Or is this something more kind of going to be explained as the game fully launches?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind, ruining some of the surprise here. Each of these items will have a collector score. So we're going to debut a collector score in the future. And so each item you catch will go towards that. But there's different rarities for each item, and some items are burnable. And so spells, potions and weapons are burnable. So I can't totally say. I think you have an uncommon there. So it might take 5 uncommons to create a rare. So and that mechanism will be featured later on. But just to give you a little bit of insight of how it will work.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll claim the page. Yo, Gary Doge. Well, wearables are my thing, so I got to say it's great. Love gamification to keep people engaged. Hell yeah. So then we'll pop out on the abstract here. I know segment is abstract only. Is that correct, Matt? That's something you guys have recently added?
So we're exclusive on abstract. You know, before we were a fractionalization platform deployed across ETH, Polygon, Base, and abstract, but we've pivoted to really just a general marketplace feel, and we'll add some new features going forward that will hopefully make segment more of the full collector hub and experience for you all.
Okay, so going over to the buy bait, and guys, I am here, by the way. I just want to make sure that, you know, you can see the full experience while we're going through this, but there's 4 different baits, where there's the common, the rare bait, the epic bait, and then the legendary, which I really like the vibe of it, but there's XP that costs for it. So for people that aren't familiar with the XP side of things, how exactly do you get XP? Is it something that you buy? Is it something that you have to earn?
Yeah, so, you know, this might look similar to some of the vending machine mechanisms or gotcha machines. That's not really what this is. So this isn't necessarily like a gambling mechanism. The idea is that you're going to earn XP from trading on segment and using our features. There's also ways for you to get XP for attending our spaces, for instance, tomorrow, and other things. So you'll take that XP and you'll have sort of a binary choice. You'll be able to level up your adventurer character, which will increase your collector score. Or if you want the more immediate reward, go fishing. So that's what we're going to do now.
So we're going to switch over and do the epic bait, and we'll see where we go. So we got 3 choices. You guys ever seen the Shrek movie, and Lord Farquaad's picking like what princess, and they're like, yo, number 1, my lord, number 2, my lord, number 4, whatever. We got 3 fishing spots here, and so we're gonna go with number 3, my lord. You're going out and see what we get. And this one again is one of the epic, and there we go. And we get the epic prize. So this one's the segment adventure item, Celestial Magi boots. I'm probably mispronouncing that entirely. But for the difference between these, I think one of the things that people are going to see and be like, okay, cool, that's epic. But then is where do you go to find more information about the segment adventure items? Or am I again getting ahead of myself? All that's going to be out soon.
Yeah, so that will be out soon. We wanted the game to go live and then let people sort of discover some of this. But what's really cool about what you just pulled right there is that we have these, I want to say it's maybe 26 or 27 full armor sets. And so each armor set will have 3 or 4 pieces. All of them, or most of them, but one will be epic, but there will be a grail piece. And if you're able to collect all of the armor sets, including the grail, that's how you could actually turn your character into a one-of-one character. And so the grails will be really special, but the epics are great too, and they come with a big chunky collector score.
Amazing. And then over on the marketplace as well, you guys now have on the top of the screen, which my head is sort of cutting off here, but you guys can see all of the segment collectibles to the adventure items to the adventures in of themselves, which again, get upgraded from that XP unless you're wanting to use that over on the catch. So I will use one more. I don't actually, hold on. Do I need to buy it? Yes, I'm going to buy one more epic bait. And then we'll jump over to our traditional stream. But if you guys have any questions for Matt as we're going through this, feel free to throw them down in the chat. But one more epic bait we're throwing, seeing if we can get another epic. And we'll go this time with number 2. And we got the common sword, the rusty shiv.
Yeah, you know, it might be worth showing the hit rates again, right? Because just because you use an epic bait doesn't mean you're going to get the epic prize.
True. Good call. Good call on that.
There's still a chance to get sort of garbage in a rusty shiv. I mean, it doesn't get more garbage than...
It's like the bronze dagger in RuneScape for anybody that just ended up playing that.
And hence why we'll have a burning mechanism.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just going over the odds right quickly on the legendary bait. The rare is 70%, epic 25%, and then legendary 5%. For the legendary, which again is the most, on the epic bait, there's a 1% chance for that. And then on the rare and common bait, there's 0% for the legendary, which we haven't pulled one yet, obviously just down in the epic phase. But it's cool that you guys have like the listing of prizes and the full armor suits. Or actually, on the one item here, it says like the epic rarity adventure items, and one of them is like a blue full suit of armor. Is that a single piece, or is that sort of what like the the one of one art looks like?
Yeah, I believe that that's just like the chest plate.
Gotcha.
Piece for that.
Okay, cool.
Set, yeah.
Cool. And the Riotware prize is uncommon. And then, there's Vibes TCG redemption codes as well. So for people that are out there playing the Vibes TCG, you're going out to some of the Vibes events, aren't you, to play in person?
I'm actually going tomorrow. So they're doing their regional tournament in Hartford, Connecticut. So I'll be there. I'm going to play in that Sunday. And then they've got a bunch of other mini tournaments and games throughout the weekend. So basically, you try to place, you'll earn prize wall tickets, and then you get enough prize wall tickets, maybe you can get like an uncut sheet of something cool. That's what I'll try to accomplish this week. I mainly just don't want to embarrass myself on Sunday, so that's the goal.
I love that you're like, I don't want to embarrass yourself, and your webcam is like completely stuck. So it's like the foot
on your end. Yeah, great.
Okay, we'll see if we can get that fixed here in a second. Maybe we'll just keep you the Ghost of Christmas Past type of deal.
We might as well loop people in. So yesterday we were doing a recording, and I meant to say debut, but I accidentally said debut, and lost. I mean, he lost it for a good 5 minutes. We all make mistakes, but I'll turn up the internet connection here.
Holy moly. Okay, so guys, jumping back over to our traditional X-Feed stream, and we'll have Matt Bartlett joining with us. And again, if you guys are watching the video afterwards, and if you have any comments or suggestions based off what you've seen with the Segment Fishing game, feel free to let us know. And they are trying to connect with different streamers, so if you happen to be watching this and you're wanting to just get more connected with the team, again, feel free to reach out and I can get you in contact with that. So the first story of the day is not Web3 related, but I kind of have like a theory with this that I want to go over. So the post here is about a new game that's coming out. And again, it's not blockchain related, but these World of Warcraft devs have spent 4 years on a PvE extraction RPG. Love all these terminologies. Where you must defeat monsters and real players to get your loot from this fantasy world, and season 1 is finally here. So I'll play the video. We're not going to play it with audio or whatnot. But Matt, one thing that I've found within Web3 is it feels like there's a lot of teams that come out and people that are saying, we're ex-Disney, we're ex-Netflix, we're all these sort of things. And you kind of question of like, okay, are they actually that? Were they, big players within these certain things, or were they on smaller roles? What's your take on people that have or highlight, very extensive team experience within the Web2 industry? Have you found that it's crossed over quite well within Web3, or is it just kind of fluff to get sales?
I'm sure it's a mix of both. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to judge people based on the work that they do. And I'm watching this live with you. This looks awesome.
I do think that it looks quite good. It's interesting too that we seem to have like so many game. I don't know if we can call it like game failures, but there's a lot of studios that are shutting down, or things that are changed, or games that aren't happening. But at the same time, we have massive launches where the Expedition 33, again, these aren't blockchain games, but seems to be very, very popular and getting all these accolades, where some things in the industry just aren't going as swimmingly. And going over to the Abstract chat, Slavic, what's going on, guys? We are live over on Abstract. If you're over there, it's just /Schiller on the Abstract stream. Big Bored Ape Yacht Club sale. One of the trippy Bored Apes going for 35 ETH or $93,000. Curious. I feel like every time we start seeing grails move, that's when we start seeing floors overall move. Now, we saw a while ago with Doodles that they did a collab with G-Shock, which is a watch brand. And then I saw that Illuvium was doing the same, where they had this collab, and I don't know why, but my first reaction to seeing this was like not necessarily that positive, just because it was like, oh, somebody's already done it. But then you kind of sit back and you're like, you know what? G-Shock's actually kind of a cool brand. It's awesome that they're supporting Web3 in some sort of realm, and Illuvium doing a collab with them. So Matt, curious, did you have any thoughts on seeing Illuvium do the same collab that Doodles did?
I mean, if you're a collector of G-Shock, I would want one of these, and it doesn't matter really to me that they're doing this with different brands. I think they're very cool. and I assume they're a pretty limited edition. I don't know.
Yeah, I would assume so too. I don't actually remember how much they cost, but I'm probably going to guess like over $250 or so. But Michael K from MetaMask, this was a guy that was associated with Wallet Guard that got acquired by Consensus and is now a part of the MetaMask team. And this is like Kerberos. This is like Revoke.cash, where there was an in-browser extension to help you stay safe when accepting or signing transactions on chain. And I noticed this post from him earlier. I said, how many Grail items can you spot in this photo? And this wall is amazing. Behind my head, you got like the Spotty Wi-Fi album. There's a whole bunch of the posters that were given out at the Ape Fests, and they were hard to get because within the, I think this was like the second Ape Fest in New York that they did it, and every single day. So there was 4 days. I got like Amy Schumer and a couple of other artists, and then like the last day there was like Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and all these like crazy ones. But you had to basically enter a raffle, and when you left the venue every single day, they had people at the bottom of the staircase, the escalator, whatever it was, that were handing out bags of these posters. And so those 4 of them each day is on that wall. So that is awesome. We got Pudgy Penguins in the background. We got the Bored Ape. I'm getting my head's in the way, but the Bored Ape skateboard. They got the Happy Dad brand before they completely dropped them. Matt, I know that you got Collectibles behind you as well, and we'll see if your video is, oh, there we go. You're back. It's good. Yeah. But I know you have some Collectibles behind you as well. So do you have anything that's like super Grail-like, or are these just fun?
Nothing out there is really a Grail. I mean, I do love my Pudgy figurines. I've got a couple video games there. I mean, the F-Zero, a sealed F-Zero is pretty cool, but I mean, it's probably still under $1,000 in value. I've got the free to claim book up. I'm still a fan. You know, it's like you got to respect what the punks have done. And I haven't opened it yet, so maybe that will go up in value for me someday. We'll see. Okay,
so on the top of your poster, though, you have like 2 MFers. So are those your NFTs, or are those like some kind of collectibles, or?
No, those were, I think those are hand drawn. I think I got them at NFT NYC maybe last year or the year before. They were just kind of hanging around the convention center, around the Javits Center.
Okay, cool.
Or Javits Center.
Awesome. All right, so cool showcase. And again, I'm trying to think for myself, like you can't see behind me because I have like the green screen, but I mean, I have the Bored Ape Yacht Club basketball. We have 2 of them, some other Pokemon stuff. I have some merch from some of the different events. And I remember going there and I bought like several bags of the Bored Ape merch thinking like, oh yeah, these are going to be highly valuable one day. And then now people don't really care as much about the merch. Well, they do care about like the OG of OGs, but not necessarily as much from the events. But yesterday, if you guys haven't seen, there was an interview done with the co-founder of MetaMask. And it sounds like there's a potential for a token to be on the menu. So my thought or thesis with this is, all right, so we were just told that the abstract TGE is going to be happening, but probably around Q4. We have the OpenSea airdrop that if it doesn't happen in 2025, I feel like that people are going to absolutely riot. And then potentially a MetaMask airdrop. I feel like that's 3 massive tokens that a lot of the NFT and crypto community is a part of. That's going to be pretty big. So the quick take from this article, MetaMask co-founder Dan Finley said the team is still considering a native token for the wallet in an interview with the block's Tim Coupland. Parent company Consensus has long floated the idea of launching tokens for its verticals, including MetaMask, in an attempt to drive progressive decentralization. So this kind of comes back to the fact of like everybody doing a token. Matt, do you think it's a problem that everybody's doing a token, or do you think that everything's just going to get tokenized?
Well, I mean, I would love number one for MetaMask to do a token. I mean, I've used MetaMask longer than I have OpenSea. I'm sure many of us have. So that's one that we would hope would really pay off, but who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, tokens have been used to get attention. You know, we might launch a token at some point. I just hate to lead with that, right? Because then what happens when we've seen this? What happens once you have the TGE and then the NFTs dump or you lose part of your community? There needs probably to be a new playbook, and I do think Abstract will probably look to do something different, and who knows, right, what OpenSea and MetaMask have planned. But I do love free money, so I'm waiting.
That's a great way to phrase. Well, I mean, even with that, I'm trying to think of like the ways that they would end up like rewarding people, because it's like using the wallet. But if you've not done the in wallet swap, so if nobody's used the MetaMask wallet, basically they have the same thing. Instead of going to Uniswap, you can swap within the wallet, and it gives you an aggregator of some of the different optionalities. But it's like, are they going to do it where if you just downloaded it or have some kind of crypto in your wallet, only if you've used this? I think that's, for me, like, how is it going to get used, and then kind of go from there. But do you have any thoughts on how MetaMask would potentially reward people?
My guess would be with swaps. I mean, it's probably tied to where they've captured some fees.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, what, are they just going to reward people for simply using it, or is it you have to have, generated them some sort of some sort of kickback over time? That's ultimately the question with it. But the next story, Matt's favorite, over on the Pudgy Penguin side of things, the collab with the hundreds. So yesterday we highlighted the fact that they're building a rug. So the patch that you see on this shirt and here, they're turning that into a rug, but it also looks like the fact that they are creating like an actual merch line with it. And on the back of the jacket, it says Pudgy Bomb. So did you have any thoughts on the aesthetic and vibes of the hundreds X Pudgy Penguins?
Yeah, I mean, they're unique. I just think, and I don't want to miss or yeah, not phrase this the right way, but it's like Luca talks about returning value to the Pudgies by continuing to have brands that show off the IP. So it's like, whether you like this one or whether this one does well or not, it doesn't matter, because it's just strengthening the brand as a whole. So I think anytime you could get your IP used, it's positive for the most part, right? So we'll see what happens with it.
That's a very fair take. No way to argue with that one. But one thing that we can argue about for a while here, and if any of you guys are watching live, and if you want to have some says on this, this is like otherworldly of what the hell, why does this happen every single day in crypto, of something just stupid. So I'm going to read over all of the stuff. We're going to play the Brian video, and then Matt and I will have a back and forth. So new, Coinbase reveals criminals targeted our customer support agents overseas. They use cash offers to convince a small group of insiders to copy data in our customer support tools for less than 1% of Coinbase monthly transacting users. So we'll go over like what was said here in a second, but one of the common trends or themes that I've seen in reaction to this, and specifically, was everybody commenting on the 1%, saying there's no way it was 1%. It's absolutely higher, but they're just saying 1% to try to not cause panic. So they said what they got were names, addresses, phone, and email, masked social security, the last 4 digits only, masked bank account numbers and some bank account identifiers, government ID images, account data, limited corporate data. But what they didn't get was login credentials, private keys, any ability to move or access customer funds, access to Coinbase Prime accounts, or access to any Coinbase or Coinbase customer hot or cold wallet. So this goes back to people saying, well, you know what? We've gotten these emails of all these crypto scams, and obviously this is from the leak of Coinbase, which again goes back to that this is probably higher than 1%. But here's what Brian Armstrong had to say about the whole ordeal. This is about a 3-minute video, so kind of sit back and relax. This is going to be a little bit without us talking, but here's what he had to say.
Hey everyone, I want to make you aware of a disturbing email that we received recently at Coinbase. It was a ransom note demanding $20 million in Bitcoin in exchange for these attackers not releasing some information they claim to have obtained on our customers.
I'm not hearing anything.
Now,
but,
I'd like to do things transparently here.
Yeah, sorry, it's just on the stream only. Sorry.
Oh, sorry about that.
My bad.
Coinbase, and so I'm going to respond publicly to these attackers by saying no. We are not going to pay your ransom. In fact, I have a few next steps in mind that I'm going to share at the end of this video. But for the rest of you watching, wondering what happened, we did an investigation here, and these attackers have been approaching our overseas customer support agents, looking for a weak link, someone who would accept a bribe in exchange for sharing some customer information with them. Now, our support tools have limited access to customer information. There was no passwords or private keys or funds accessed as part of this. But customer support agents do have access to personal information like name, date of birth, address, etc. And attackers still want access to this information because it allows them to conduct social engineering attacks where they can call our customers, impersonating Coinbase customer support, and try to trick them into sending their funds to the attacker. Now, unfortunately, they were able to find a few bad apples. Our systems are designed to mitigate the impact of something like this, so less than 1% of our monthly transacting users had their records accessed, but this is still unacceptable, and I want to tell you what we're doing about it. So first, any customers that were socially engineered as a result of this incident, we're going to reimburse them. There's more details on our website, on our blog post about the reimbursement process. You can read more there. Any customers who have been impacted by this or have been notified at this point. Number two, we're hardening our systems around customer support to make something like this much more difficult in the future. And third, we're actually relocating some of our customer support operations as a result of this. But the last step is maybe the most important, which is that instead of paying this $20 million ransom, we're turning it around. And we're putting out a $20 million award for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of these attackers. For these would-be extortionists or anyone seeking to harm Coinbase customers, know that we will prosecute you and bring you to justice. And now you have my answer.
All right, so pretty crazy video. Matt, I don't know if he ended up opening the stream, but basically he said that there was a ransom note that they demanded $20 million. They said no. They're now flipping that over and offering a $20 million reward for anybody that can come forward with information. They're reimbursing anybody that was socially engineered from this. They're moving their support team away from some of the, I don't know, countries, areas where their support team was generally located to try to extinguish what some of these issues were. Gary Doge, at least they have avoided single point of failure and are reimbursing customers. LOL, the wild West rewards, dead or alive. Absolute insane. So, Matt, I'm assuming you've seen some of the stuff on your timeline a little bit earlier today. Did you have any thoughts on the fact of, this is, I mean, man, crypto feels scary.
I know, right? Pretty big steps. I mean, moving your support center, that's huge. Really awesome that they're reimbursing, but watch the scammers try to take advantage of the reimbursement. They'll play victim and try to get some, I'm sure. But yeah, no, I think they're making the right steps, and I like how he's taking a proactive approach and putting up the 20 million as a bounty.
What's your thoughts on him doing a video about it? Because I feel like that's not something we see a whole lot of. Like, I'm trying to think actually the I don't know if it was BitBuy. No, it was one of those things before, but there was a huge exploit that happened before, and then we saw the CEOs doing a live stream. So this is like the second time we've had it this year. And anybody that's watching the stream right now, maybe you can help me with it, but I don't remember the exchange, but there was like some 60 million or just outrageous or billion, but then they said that we're fine, even though it was like an insane amount. And then you're like, okay, so crypto exchanges are very, very wealthy. But it's like, why are there so many things happening this year? Is it just the fact that Bitcoin's hot again? Because it felt like it was pretty quiet the previous few years.
Yeah, probably. I mean, honestly, I kind of like that he did that video. It kind of has the build in public vibes. It's a bit vulnerable in a way because he's the one delivering it. And I mean, hey, better that this happens now if it has to happen than years from now when obviously crypto's maybe at a higher valuation. So yeah, I think it's fine.
The early industries, as we like to say. Crazy, crazy stuff, but that doesn't prevent people from being very negative about the crypto space, even though people are trying their damnedest to do right by the people. So The Verge put out a article after the CryptoPunks got acquired by the Infinite Node Foundation, or Node Foundation that you guys saw yesterday or the day before. And the title of this, CryptoPunks are being sold to a non-profit as NFT hype fades. Yuga Labs says the Digital Art Foundation is a better steward for CryptoPunks. I don't know if there's necessarily a whole lot to talk about that, but Matt, is this headline for clicks? Do you think that there's still a lot of people that are kind of against crypto as a whole?
No, look, I wrote kind of like a predictions piece at the beginning of the year on which projects would do well. Obviously, I thought Pudgy would do well, and I listed CryptoPunks as like needing a change in leadership or direction. They need something. And this could be the catalyst that helps them out. Yeah, that's probably what I'd add.
And then one of the weirdest things that I saw on the timeline was somebody tweeting, and I haven't fact checked this, so this could be fake news, but zero CryptoPunks trading the day after the news of confirming they're likely permanently not going to be effed with was not on my bingo card. So on the day that it happened, there's all this news and hype, And then apparently nobody bought a single CryptoPunk the day after. Seems like people still don't get it. So I thought that aspect was just wild if that is actually true, that nobody was out there buying. But Moonpay, with some breaking news, Moonpay and Mastercard have joined forces to enable stablecoin payments and spending at 150 million global businesses. With this partnership, every crypto wallet will also have access to new stablecoin-powered virtual Mastercards. Matt, I don't know if I'm crazy. I feel like MasterCard and all these things have had an announcement literally every single day, so I didn't feel like this was actually news. But maybe I'm wrong, and this is like the big hurrah, because it feels like there's something with MasterCard and crypto every single day.
Yeah, I mean, MasterCard's making major moves. Coincidentally, I actually had a meeting with MasterCard this week related to SegMint and what we're doing at VanEck, and they clearly are making a big push into Web3 and creating a great economy, a multi-coin economy. I think this is also part of the journey of that consumer crypto theme. I mean, people need to be able to pay with fiat and on-ramp and off-ramp quickly and easily. And, what better way than a credit card or a debit card, right? So I think they're making the right moves.
Very interesting to see every single day, again, something new. And what we highlighted at the beginning of the stream, and this is massive, but people might not be familiar with, is Golden Wolf is like an award-winning studio that's won a ton of stuff, and Doodles acquired them, I want to say, about last year. And so Golden Wolf had a tweet a little bit earlier that said, last month saw Sabrina Carpenter's arrival in the Fortnite universe. And if you don't know who Sabrina Carpenter is, it's just a really big pop star right now in Fortnite. Hopefully you guys know what that is. And she's made a lasting impression on fans ever since. Working closely with the teams at Epic Games and Adopt, we made this launch trailer a wish you were here daydream on a postcard that captures Sabrina's sweet, provocative, and slightly deadly persona as she wreaks havoc across the Fortnite island. So Matt, I mean, it's really cool when we see, and relating back to the first post that we went over, of people saying, hey, we're X this studio, we're X that studio, but seeing some massive developments for something that's directly connected to Web3, I feel like is awesome. So do you have any thoughts on Doodles' team that they've acquired doing stuff with Fortnite? Does that mean that Doodles is going to be doing a Fortnite? What does that mean for everybody who reacts to things in Web3?
I mean, the Sabrina super fans will get exposure to Doodles. I guess that's good, right? I don't know how they turn that into, whatever's coming next for that project, but we just got to wait and see.
See, that's an interesting take that you say that, though, because it is interesting, the fact of like people would be like, oh, you know what, I like the character, the trailer, they think it's cool or whatever. But again, I don't think you would know like, oh yeah, this is owned by, a massive Web3 team that's out there. But the more, the better. So this is something that I also saw on my timeline, and I haven't read this until this moment, but everybody was talking about this AI agent simulator, and I scoured the timeline trying to figure it out, and we found Roto here that gave a little bit of a breakdown. So here's the thread. The largest AI agent simulation ever is about to start. Imagine it's the 90s, but with crypto and autonomous AI traders. That's the world of DX Terminal, and you can be part of it. Here is what's coming. DX Terminal is an experimental on-chain autonomous trader game. It's set in an alternate 1990s timeline where AI and cryptocurrency technologies emerged earlier than in reality. The goal is to complete market domination by accumulating a fictional currency called Mercoin. To play, you mint a team of junior traders. Every trader is a fully unique persona and comes with Gremplin AI-trained PFP, which is very interesting. And again, Gremplin is a massive artist in the space. He did the second collection of Moonbirds that was called Oddities, if you're not familiar with that. And then he also did the Cryptodes art, if you're familiar with that collection. Traders can create new tokens and liquidity pools autonomously. Its personality and background directly influences its trading behavior. And they have like a heron. It's one of the characters, which is great. Minting starts with a short quiz that assigns you and your traders to one of 6 in-game companies. Your trader's company knowledge affects their token preferences and helps them promote their corporate culture to others. The companies Hot Diggity Dog Inc., Millennium Pictures, Crude Dude Oil LLC, Pixel Pill Corp., Speedster Limited, and Coin Collective. Traders aim to profit or cut losses based on their unique trading style and market outlook. Their outlook is shaped by their archetype, available information, and player-given prompts. No archetype has a built-in advantage, but it does affect their decision-making processes and behaves across the 10 in-game locations. And then it gives some character archetypes. In order for traders to take action, they must spend energy. Every trader has a maximum cap of 10 energy at once and will cover 3 energy every 4 hours. The game simulation runs from October 20th, 1987, Black Monday, to January 1st, 2000, Y2K. It progresses at an accelerated pace every 12 hours in real time, represents a single year in game time. During this period, significant market-altering news events can occur, influencing marketing conditions, trading behaviors, or even government intervention. Traders are minted on base for 0.0125 ETH. There is no limit on team size, but more traders equal more potential influence over the markets. Thus far, 19,000 traders have been minted. The mint closes in less than 6 hours. That ended up selling out. But Matt, the question that I have with this is, I don't think we've really seen an AI game take off within Web3. That sounds interesting. It's getting traction. I'm seeing it talked about a lot. How quickly do we see the Web3 landscape pivot to AI?
Okay, first of all, are we down the rabbit hole or what? I mean, that's a second job to keep up with what you just described. And you know, there, to your point, there are a lot of AI projects right now. So it definitely has its place, and there's going to be some winners, but it's like, who do you pay attention to right now? And maybe it goes back to what you mentioned up front about the, you know, where the different devs are coming from, and you know, what they built in the past. Because otherwise, how would you figure out and filter what to follow and what not to?
Well, one of the things that I also wanted to comment on was the fact that we're seeing with Abstract on a couple of the experiences with like the Bitcoin and then Cambria that I got into, was that the entry fee was minimal comparatively, right? Because for a lot of these NFT mints, it's, you know, 0.05, it's potentially higher. I know a lot of people do free mints as well, but for that, I mean, it mentioned that it was on base in like 0.01 ETH, and the other ones that we just mentioned a second ago, they seem lower. So is that something you think is going to stick, where it's like there's an entry fee, but it's something that's smaller? Or do you think this is just the time period that we're in where there's kind of opportunity to get into something not as expensive as previous NFT launches?
Oh man, all of the above. I don't have a good take on it.
That's fair. Hey, listen, that's fair. It's something that I've just noticed because, again, we went from a time where everybody was charging an arm and a leg to things, to free mints happening in galore, to then people not having success with free mints, so then free mints stopped, and now we're getting kind of cheap but quality, and it's wild to follow.
Well, you know, like, it's funny. I forget if I was in Discord or on X today, but someone was talking about, yeah, I think it was our own Discord, where it's like, free mints aren't minting out. People are, you know, and we did this, by the way. I mean, we had an initial number of NFTs that we had as a supply, and then at some point we decided to cut the supply and just, you know, burn the remainder or whatever. We're seeing more and more of that, and I don't know if that's just, you know, depending on the chain that you're on, or, you know, the interest in the project or what, but that does seem to be a sort of the current meta regarding those types of mints.
Yeah, it's a great observation in that regard. And something else you guys might not have seen, ChatGPT now has more monthly users than Wikipedia. And I've found myself, like, if you're trying to look something up, it's so much easier just type it into ChatGPT versus going to like Wikipedia or anything like that. So it does show that AI is to connect that to what we were just going over moments ago. But Matt, any quick thoughts on ChatGPT overtaking Wikipedia, or is that just the showcase of the times?
When was the last time you've been to Wikipedia?
That's a good point. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit.
I don't know, at least a year, right? I only use ChatGPT or some other GPT.
Some other GPT, facts. Okay, if you guys haven't seen the final thing that we're going to show here, Matt, I don't know if you want to give...
This is big, and I'll just save my one comment until it's over.
Okay. So if you guys haven't seen, this is Choose Rich's Nick new music video.
Yo, Choose Rich, I'm loaded. Yo, I swipe, I might buy the same thing twice. Yo, I swipe, crypto cash back is nice. Yo, I swipe, my dad tried to give me advice, so I told him kiss my ass, I got Bitcoin cash back. Yo, I swipe, sitting first class on flights. Yo, I swipe, vacation just seeing the sights. Yo, I swipe, my girlfriend's starting to fight, cause her credit card cash back's cash and not crypto. I walk up in the store and I set it off, cause I have the Gemini credit card. I just tell the owner, throw it in the bag. He thinks I'm a piece of shit, but respects my swag. My cashback's crypto, so it's going up. I'ma tell the waiter that it's time for him to fill my cup. He says I'm intoxicated and I have to leave, but I got 3% Bitcoin for these drinks. My girl grilling me, how you stack this bread? Check lands, one swipe, now the question's dead. I'm earning crypto back the moment that I swipe. That means I'm rich, bitch. Crypto shit is life. The code I bought in Paris is a masterpiece. Remember, I don't pay foreign transaction fees. I won't stop swiping, yo, that's blasphemy. My credit score glowing, yo, they envy. Yo, I swipe, I might buy the same thing twice. Yo, I swipe, crypto cash back is nice. Yo, I swipe, my dad tried to give me advice, so I told him kiss my ass, I got Bitcoin cash back. Yo, I swipe, sitting first class on flights. Yo, I swipe, vacation just seeing the sights. Yo, I swipe, my girlfriend's starting to fight, cause her credit card cash back's cash and not crypto.
I do have to say, I think I prefer crypto commercials over most of the stuff on the TV. But Matt, on the video.
Be honest with yourself. If this was your first time listening or watching that, like, you want to hear it again. It's good. It's really good. And all of those little bits that they did over the last year to pull them into a music video, I mean, hats off to them. Hats off to the team. I think it's pretty good. You almost don't know that it's a commercial, obviously.
Yeah, I realized like halfway through, or like I started reading the text because the first time I didn't watch it, I didn't read the text, but it was like Gemini card holders and like 60,000 current or whatever the hell it was, and it was good. So Gemini commercial, not bad, not bad. So does that mean you're going to switch to Gemini now? That's the question.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one of those cards.
Hey, you need the conversion rate.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. Matt, any final thoughts regarding the segment catch game or anything else we went over today?
All right. Full disclosure, because we talked about founders being vulnerable, we might push the phishing game back a couple days, and it's only because we want to make sure that the UI UX is really smooth for everyone. So sure, we'll make an announcement. Regardless, it will be fun. I promise. We'll make it fun. We'll have lots of good prizes. And we'll have a good 2 weeks of fishing frenzy, we'll call it, ahead of us. So hang in there. Thank you for supporting us, and thanks for having me on today.
Awesome. Of course. Gary Doze, Boomer. Thank you guys for coming through, and anybody else watching afterwards and over on the